All right, folks, I wanted to record this market warning because gold and silver are pumping while Bitcoin has been crashing. This is sending a market signal for us all to take heed of. Now, I say take heed because I don't think that the correction is over, and I think that this may be part of a broader move that we have been preparing for a while now. It's been delayed, but it appears to finally be coming through. I'm going to show you a little bit of charts, Bitcoin, silver, gold, what's happening, and what this means for the broader stock market and our economy. Let's get into it. So I'm going to start here by sharing the gold chart. Gold has been pumping here today, and it had kind of a normal day yesterday, just chopping sideways. Remember, the markets were closed yesterday for Independence Day in America. But then we start up here today and we just go ballistic, pushing towards 2,400, massive green candle. This is the daily chart zoomed out to the beginning of the year to give you perspective on what gold has done so far this year, 23%. Now, in the video that I dropped, just the last video that I just did, I actually shared a post to someone saying that silver had done the best return so far year to date in the first half of 2024. But the problem is that they included stocks, bonds, commodities, but they left out cryptocurrency. They just left out the digital asset space completely. And so when you look at silver versus all of the rest of the equities, bonds, commodities, silver has been the best performing in the first half of this year. But when you add in digital assets, well, digital assets, even including Bitcoin, blow silver out of the water. But as I stated, there's a reason why gold and silver are on my defensive side of my portfolio, while cryptocurrencies, digital assets, are more on the offensive side. That is a little bit more risky, or a lot more risky. But this is why we hedge, right? This is why I have my XRP. This is why I have my cash. And then this is why I have my silver. And so silver, let's take a look at it, back up to $31.50 today, cooling off right now at $31.20. But it was up to 31.5 earlier today. Massive green candle for silver. Now, gold and silver are pumping, going up, and Bitcoin's going down. But this actually leads us back to the same indicator that things are getting bad. What do I mean by that, and how can that be possible? Well, when things are bad, gold and silver typically, when there's a little bit of worry in the market, gold and silver tend to do well. And if we do finally get a recession later this year, I do expect gold and silver to have a correction. But for now, they're actually, taking advantage of kind of the market worry and folks wanting to hedge out of something other than the equities markets that's just been traditionally way overvalued compared to past performance. But the other thing to note here with gold and silver is that they're sending a signal that the West no longer controls the price. So what's happening is that the West is sleeping. America was celebrating Independence Day. Hope you guys had a great 4th of July. While the rest of the world was still opened up for their markets, and they were eating up gold and silver. And so that's why gold and silver both opened up to, when our markets finally opened up this Friday, they both pumped in a massive way because they were catching up to where prices are at out east in China, Beijing, Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, India, eating up gold this year. And so the West no longer controls the price. That's why we played catch up today when our markets opened up. The other thing that came out today was the jobs numbers, and unemployment climbed to 4.1% in June. In May, it ticked up to 4%. Mind you, the Fed put out an unemployment target of 4% for the end of this year. We weren't supposed to get to 4% unemployment till the end of this year. Here we are, just 5 months into the year, we're already at 4%. And the trend is not your friend if you're an American, because we just ticked up to 4.1%. But wait, there's more, not more jobs. There's actually less jobs. They revised the last 2 months and we lost 111,000 of the jobs that were reported. We've already lost 20,000 jobs to start July. So it's getting hot out there and the summer has arrived, but it ain't hot for this jobs market unless you're looking for part-time work. Part-time work is growing, full-time jobs being lost. This is why I believe that gold and silver, they're confirming this. They're sending the signal that it's not good out there. But then Bitcoin is also showing you it's a leading indicator of what's about to happen to the broader stock market. Remember, crypto moves first and it moves faster. and the stock market's going to be lagging behind. Let's take a look. Bitcoin back down to 53,300 yesterday. Okay. Now we have climbed back up to 56,450 at the time of this recording. This is the daily chart. And you can see Bitcoin had one heck of a run here to start this year. And as I showed you guys on my video that I dropped earlier today, I've been expecting this correction that we got. It was the same thing that happened in 2020. During 2019, Bitcoin pumped 340% from, it was about 3,000 up to about 14,000. Then it had a massive correction back down before we blasted off again after March 2020. That took us down to sub 10,000 once again. And then we started to climb back up to 69,000, right? So we had a 60% correction, 63% to be exact. And that was before the halving. So I was expecting this correction to come in before the halving. We had the ETF pump that took us up in January to 50,000, correction back down to 38,000. And then we climbed back up to 74,000 before the halving. We haven't done this before. But now we're starting to see the correction at play. And I'm going to take a measurement right now to get our current tally. Where are we at? From 74,000 down to 53,400. You had about 28% drop off. So we've already had a 28% correction. The other interesting thing to point out is that I went back to every single 4th of July since 2019 because I wanted to see how do we usually trade on the 4th and what happens in and around that date. Well, the few times that we've actually seen Bitcoin in the crypto market pump on the 4th, it was actually followed by a correction every single year for the past 5 years, going back to 2019, of 15 to 30%. So even if we were pumping during the 4th, we still corrected 15 to 30% after that. Well, we didn't pump at all. You guys saw what took place. The market's down again, and here we are down 28% off of the highs. So we're already halfway there as far as the correction that I was anticipating. I didn't think that we have to do a 60% correction like we did in March of 2020. That's when we thought that world was coming to an end, right? So I don't think that we go quite that far. And there's so much from a fundamental perspective that even for Bitcoin is bullish. But I have been saying that nothing good happens between now and the election. Nothing good happens for the markets, even if the Fed does cut rates. And so I don't see, really anything good happening other than if we rip the Band-Aid off here in crypto, we clean this space out, and then we can recover from there. But the problem is the broader stock market is still lagging. And so Bitcoin making this move, I'm expecting the broader stock market to follow suit here shortly. I'm going to take a look and see what the stock market did here today. I actually haven't checked. So it was up for the Dow Jones today. It was up for the NASDAQ 100, setting another all-time high. And for the S&P 500, another all-time high. This is what's hilarious, is that the stock market is actually remaining incredibly resilient. But if you look at the structure, if you look at the data, if you look at all the technicals, they all align for the end of bubbles. And like I said, you make a baby between the Great Recession, the Great Financial Crisis that we had in 07, 08, and the dot-com bubble. If those two corrections made a baby, that would be our current market environment and what's about to take place. And so I don't know how far these markets are set to drop. I know a lot of people are calling for dramatic targets for Bitcoin and even for the stock market as well. I don't really take too hard of a look at the technicals on the stock market, to be honest. I just watch Bitcoin pretty much exclusively because it's the it's the most active market with good solid liquidity, and it's usually front running, and the moves are more dramatic. So when Bitcoin pumps 10, 20%, the stocks might pump 2%, right? 1%. It's not going to be as dramatic. We understand that it's a much different setup here. But with that being said, I believe that the signals are being sent here that we need to be prepared. We need to be ready to ride out the storm for the rest of this year, or at least until the election, because no one's coming to save us between now and then. And even if your favorite person wins the election this coming year, inflation's still baked in. And so we still have to understand what's going to happen here. Even if markets do go in and say we get that Trump pump that I am expecting, what this is going to do is this is going to bring inflation rearing back, okay? But your asset prices are going to go ballistic as well. This is a time when we really need to understand the dynamics between what's happening on Main Street in our economy and what's happening in these markets. It's two separate things, but I believe that markets like Bitcoin right now is sending the signal and a reflection of what's now being, given back to us by the economic data that's kind of confirming this thesis. So, with that being said, I still believe that this bull run is not over. I think that Bitcoin is still going to go above 100,000 this cycle. And you guys know that I'm not really a big Bitcoin bull. I just think that into 2025, inflation comes back, the Trump pump occurs. And I do believe that we're going to get regulations, stablecoin and broader crypto regulations that drive this market much higher. In the meantime, it's going to be a bumpy road. But even for XRP, the fundamentals continue to get better than ever. For Bitcoin, like I said, there's a few catalysts I'm waiting for, which is more ETFs getting approved, stablecoin and broader regulations, and then Powell turning back on the printer, which I believe comes later this year or next year. It's only a matter of time. So that's where we're at. Gold, silver, and Bitcoin all sending a signal. Gold and silver going up, Bitcoin going down, but it means the same thing. It means you better strap in. For myself, I continue to pray every single day. God willing, we're going to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. We've been stacking silver for defensive measures, but we appreciate the pump. We've been stacking XRP for fundamental reasons that show us that we got maybe a 5, 10x or more, as I talked about in my previous video. So we've hedged ourselves correctly, but then we're also building our cash position by focusing most of our time and energy on our businesses, on our income, on getting that paper up. If I could wish anything for you right now other than health for you and your family, it would be for stacking that paper as high as possible. We need it to survive inflation, and then we want it to be liquid so we can take advantage of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. With that being said, if you guys appreciate our updates, please make sure that you like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next one. God bless you all. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.